You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Miller.
And this is Ken Miller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. And to start with, we want to wish all our listeners out there a happy Easter for those of you that celebrate. And
I think, Ken, happy Easter, by the way. But I think now the Easter is no longer like only associated with religion, right? I mean, people just say happy Easter like a holiday.
Yeah, and it's associated
like
with spring, the warmer weather, the flowers blooming, coming in, everything.
Yes.
So we all survived this long winter.
Yes,
and
yes.
cold and snowy, and so it's
I think
so it's a
last
sign of
year-
hope and moving ahead into
That's
what's
right.
ahead for the rest of 2026.
Absolutely. I think this winter is like worse in the last 10 years or more, I think. We got spoiled. Some years like so mild, you don't even feel it.
Yep.
But this year was like
this
really,
one we had snow. We had like two major snowstorms.
two.
I mean, two big ones. We had two monster ones, and
then
one
the
with other
monster one, the
was
snow didn't melt for months.
the first one. From January to February was like
the March.
Yeah.
I still see the snow on certain area.
Yeah. So So,
but I'm glad the birds singing. The grass is getting green, and
Right.
the flowers and branches and start to sprout out,
Yep.
which
So-
is really good.
Yeah.
You feel good.
And with that, we're going to talk now about 3 months are in the kitty for real estate.
That's
we got
right. Quarterly report.
So we got the quarterly report for the first quarter of 2026 to
Yes.
talk about. And
Today, we're not going to bother you by burden you with a number, so you don't need to get a coffee. Today is a light chat
Right.
rather than the actual numbers. We'll talk about some numbers, but it's just the update on what happening the last 3 months. And I think a lot of professionals, real estate agent will agree. Last 3 months, even though the weather has not been so good, but the buyer is very passionate. So there's a lot of people. I remember last year, at the end of the year, during the Christmas time, and we had an open house. We had so many people, like 20, 30, 40 families, and that's a 1.2 million house. So the people waiting to see. And, it's so cold, which is after snow too. And it's really, the market is still very strong.
Yeah, and I would say that too, as evidence just very recently when I helped you out at an open house for a luxury home in Central Jersey back in March. There was about 20 families that came.
Yes.
So despite all the things going on in the world, global economy, and with the price of gasoline and things, the real estate market, at least evidenced by the attendees and what's been selling. It's still fairly strong, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. Like we're going to talk about the inventory and things like that, but it's been quite surprisingly strong.
Yes, and you would think, right, the current economy, current situation, and a lot of unknown, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the market remains strong. And last 3 months, compared with 2025, I think the closed one, obviously, when you talk about the market, there's a few aspects. You have a listing available, you have a closed, and you have average day on the market, you have the price, close the price versus asking price. It's a few kind of
those are the main
categories.
Right.
Yeah, but based on the closed item, we are about 15% higher this year than last year, the first quarter.
What do you wait? Back up.
2026.
Based on the closed
Deal,
the
say
number
from January 1st
through March,
to March
15%
31st.
more than the last quarter.
Sorry,
less. I think that's what you meant. Yeah,
less.
Or less.
I'm sorry, less. Yeah.
But then you've got to give the whole picture because we're 15% down in the number of homes that were sold between this first quarter of 2026 compared to the last year, the first quarter of 2025. But the second part of it is
the available
listings
exactly
went down accordingly or similar.
Went down too.
Yeah,
went down too. So especially the March and February went down too. So a lot of time, right? If you look available listings it may not tell you the whole story. You may have a lot of available listings because it didn't sell, right? The day on the market is high, but this time it's not. The listing is less this year compared with last year.
By how much less? Percentage-wise, maybe
Probably-
like 15?
Yeah, probably about 10-15%, I think, give
Yeah.
and take. And the closed is about 15%.
So it's in line. It's
in
kind
line
of,
with
the
yes.
numbers are kind of in line with
In line, yes.
Yeah, but just
Availability.
the availability
Yeah.
was less, so there's less sold. But
Yeah. This year is a strange, Ken. I mean, things, right? Some segment sell very well. I mean, I think the mid-range of the single family, at least I can see, right, sell very well. And some luxury homes sell very well, too. I think the townhouses somehow, like a little bit slower this year, in my opinion. Could be just East Brunswick, right? I mean, because, other town could be, different. But from East Brunswick point of view, I think the townhouses has a little bit, slow. But a single family, we put on the market quite a few houses in between January until March, and they pretty much sold pretty quickly. So the market is still strong at this point.
Well, what about, here's the question a lot of listeners in Central Jersey would like to know is, what about the pricing compared to this year? Because the prices have gone up so much over the last 4 to 5 years, ever since COVID. And are you seeing it stabilize or?
To be honest, I think the price is rather stabilized in certain like in March. I mean, because lack of inventory, they beat up a little. Because last year the market went up and then they kind of go down a little. And this year, January, the market pick up a little again. But case by case, some houses, like for example, right, I have one townhouses in East Brunswick, right? I mean, last year, if they put on the market, I would get 600. No doubt in my mind, because I sold one same size, but this one even a little bit better, condition in a way, right? I mean, last year I got 600, no problem with that one. And at the end of last year, I got another one, 575,000, and a similar but not as updated like this one. But now I'm struggled to even get 560. So I mean, once again, it's not only me; it's the whole community. So I always say to the seller is very frustrated.
And why do you think that is with that? Are there a number of those homes available on the? Is there a surplus of inventory for those type?
No.
So
I mean, once again, right? The owner said to me, Jane, I can't believe it. My house on the market, right? We had 60 plus family came. Okay, and the offer just not there. The number not there. And why is that? Why people come? There's no answer. There's no good offer. I said to them, and my heart go out to them, right? I said, look, I mean, if there's no showing, there could be one of the two. One is our price is way out. So in that, there's a worse problem, right? I mean, that means we way out. Nobody even bothered to come.
Right.
Nobody excited to see. Second, maybe the marketing. So didn't market the right group of audience, right? Right group of people. So by having over 60 family came,
it's not a marketing issue.
The price is in the range, okay? So just unfortunately in that community, nothing is not over. Only a few listing on the market, right? But it's just not selling. So what's the issue? Personally, I feel there's who would buy townhouses? Normally, it's a 3 or 4 type of people. One could be the family, just the young professional. Remember when you get a good job and young professional single, what did you do? You bought a townhouse,
right?
You bought a 3-bedroom.
You don't want to have the yard. You don't have to. Right. When you're young,
you don't want.
You just want
you bought a 3-bedroom.
Work a lot of hours. You just want to come home, not have to worry about the lawn or the exterior. So that's always an appeal of a condo or townhouse.
That's right. You bought a 3-bedroom, 1-car garage, and a townhouse, right? So, but nowadays the young people, young professional, because the AI, probably they all a little bit worry about their job or something, could be, right? So they not many young professional like you when you were single. Not many of them even come to the open house these days. Okay, so that's one part because a lot of young professionals they didn't for one way or the other. Maybe they just want to rent in the very luxury apartment, condos.
or they want to which there's that option is available
that's
in
yes.
Central Jersey, also maybe they want to be in Jersey City, Hoboken, or somewhere closer.
Yes, a lot of young people they may have a different way of thinking.
Lifestyle preference, right?
Yes, it's not only lifestyle; it's really the thinking. Because or me, I bought a house. When I was young, single. You bought a house when you're young, you're single, because we believe in build up your asset.
But they may not want to be tied down to
exactly
a particular
because job they can
or
transfer,
relocation.
They got the promotion. They more daring than you and me that time, right? So that's the first part of that buyer pool, the young people.
Yeah, and a good example of that would be one of your good friends' daughter, who's a highly accomplished graduate of Yale, who decided that she was extremely talented, had a great jobs in the East Coast, but got bored or wanted to try something else, so she didn't want to. So that exemplifies that type of person that didn't certainly could have bought something in real estate.
That's true. Her mother wanted to buy something
but she decided to pack up and just go to the West Coast and get another job in
San Francisco.
That's kind of the group you're talking about that are not sure what they're not sure where they're going to settle, or they're not sold maybe on the job or the city they live in, so they don't want to get tied down with buying something. And they want the flexibility, liquidity to be able to pack up and move quicker and not have to worry about. So that
and also I guess the one step further, maybe the young people have a more different option to build up their personal assets, because when you and I only think about buying a house instead of pay rent for the landlord rich, we just want to build up our own value by buying a property.
Sure.
Those young people, they're very good. They buy stock, they buy the cryptocurrency. They're so advanced, right? They have so many options there. So that's why these group of young people traditionally is a good candidate for the condo and townhouses. Is shrinking.
That's a very good explanation for Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we take a quick break and we'll continue right after these messages. Okay, welcome back to our show. We're talking about the market recap for the first 3 months of 2026. And so, Jane, to continue on that note, we were talking about why the townhouse pricing has fluctuated on a somewhat of a downward trend, and we covered the reason basically that the market pool of the typical buyers, who might be the young professionals, may have dwindled because of the lifestyle and all the things that we spoke just before the break. You mentioned there was another buying group.
There's quite a few, Ken. I haven't done yet.
Right. So that's why we're going to continue.
The second part is a lot of I'm not talking about age-wise, right? I'm talking about the time being in the state. A lot of professionals, young professionals, right? They on H-1 visa. They just immigrate to the country or just came here for work. And in the past, if you're on the working visa, you can buy a home. But now, given recently a lot of changes with the visa, the application or apply for the working visa plus the green card situation, right? I'm not quite sure, but I heard a lot on the media. There's a lot of changes. So those families put a pause on the looking. They still look. That's why you still have a 60 family came, right? They immigrants myself, we always want to own something. But
I guess it's the uncertainty factor is really the second. Factor. So the first group, the young professionals, you've got the desire is not there because they want the flexibility and all the other things. The second group pool is the people on the the visas who have the uncertainty about whether what the future holds for them for their job, their current job in the U.S. and the risk of not having to move and they don't want to risk. So that's a big factor.
That's a big factor. But those people, right? I mean, as I said, we always want to own something. So we're still looking. So it doesn't stop them look because once the circumstances confirmed, they would be in the market to purchase. So that's the second part of like they kind of still in the market, but they're not ready to sign anything, to make an offer yet because the circumstances they're not, they're not sure. And the third part is a lot of people, maybe they just want to come to the good school district, for example, right? Or move close to work, but that's all they can afford, okay? Given the job situation, I mean, every day in the media, you hear this company, so decreased by this much, that company has going to be reduced the workforce by how much. That's affect those people too, even though they want to move. But a lot of time when people not sure what happened to their job, right? They hesitated.
Sure.
I mean, back a couple of years ago, last year. And one of my clients said, my house will sell more next year. Why? Because when the Fed reduced the rate, and people will buy. I said yes or no.
But depends.
People don't buy a house because rate is low. Why? 2011, 2012. In 2011, 2012, the interest rate only 2.5, 2.7. Why we didn't sell everything? Because the economy, right? There's an issue. So unless the people have a job, I mean, I think the interest is only one factor.
Yes,
if everybody had a great job, interest is high. I mean, I bought my first house when the interest was 13%.
Right.
My girlfriend bought later 17%.
17%.
So I bought 13. I mean, the money already,
the last 40, 50 years, it's been quite high.
So that's why it's really, I think the third group people is worried about the future. So they think they want to buy, but they hesitate to buy. So that's why I think, that's that group for that townhome, at least, in East Brunswick. But having said that, the single family is still going well.
Single family is very strong in Central Jersey. Yeah,
very strong. And I think a lot of families, right, I still believe since the COVID, a lot of family want to live together. I had a lot of family move from New York here. They moved to New Jersey. They want to, either them, the parents or grandparents, they want to buy a house, have a bedroom on the first floor. So they want to, their parents move in. So
and even if there isn't a bedroom on the first floor, from my experiences in dealing with people, they're always looking at the bathroom and the possibility of expanding it to a full bath.
Yes.
And the connectivity, if there's maybe an office or a computer room on the first floor, is it viable to make that into a bedroom and then make that half bath on the first floor into a full bath so that you can have the parents or the in-laws or whomever, relatives down there that you make it convenient and comfortable for them.
Sure. I mean, based on the last, in a nutshell, for the 3 months, we believe the market is very stable. And because, once again, we had a very bad winter. So I assume, I hope, I feel, there will be more listing on the market later.
Yeah, and considering all the things that have happened in the first, like you said, the first 3 months of this year compared to last year, the fact that there's been different, global events that have impacted it, the pricing of, inflation, gasoline pricing, the heavy winter, the snow and everything, but you still had, it's still pretty consistent in terms of the homes sold are only down like 15%, but that's reflective of the inventory being down by the same same amount.
That wasn't because of anything. There's no sign of decrease in real estate. No, that's just based on the availability. Because the single family, I should put this way, well-priced single family go still very fast.
And there's going fast, but not only going fast, but also going over asking price. I think you've experienced that in Central Jersey with a few
Yeah.
a few different properties where they're
Yes.
getting where the home might be at 900, but they might get bids as high as 950.
Yeah,
Because people,
50,000, 100,000 over asking is still seen in this area. In certain town, it's more. You know, I mean, in Central Jersey, like 50,000, 100,000 is still see it. You know, you would think after all this,
That-
the people would be hesitated, right?
Right.
But no, not in this quarter. Everything still sell pretty well. So,
Right.
you know, I mean,
So there's enough of that group, I think, that's the family with children that wants the home because they know they want to settle
not only-
in a town, so they want the house in an area where there's a
Ken,
school.
it's not only the people want the school want to, you know. I have a very good family. I mean, I know since our daughter is a kid, so we know the family because they all go to the same piano teacher when they were 5.
Yeah.
So now both kids graduated, so they're gone, right? They want to downsize. So not much downsize, but they want the different lifestyle. So they look at a house in Franklin. I went with them, had a look. Oh my God, there was like so many family went there, and they had 11 offer. We went way over asking. We went, way over asking, like 50 grand over asking.
Wow.
We still lost the house because they had 11 offers.
Yeah.
50,000 over asking. Waived appraisal all the
And
way.
this was in
Franklin.
This was in an adult community.
No,
or just a
this is just a single family in the kind of a little bit rural area.
Yeah.
And the house is not that big, even in the tax at 2,700. I did my math is because including the basement. So if you're not, you probably end up with 2,000 to 2,200
Of living
because
yeah.
because I mean first floor and second floor because I've been seeing thousand houses when I go into the house pretty
you
much
pretty
my
much know what the
body will
size
tell me the
is.
size may not be accurate, maybe 200 give and take, but 2,000 to 2,200 definitely. I don't feel 2,700. So we when the township get a record was definitely including the finished basement, part of finished basement.
Right.
But
So sometimes it's interesting from what all we said. We usually said that people move because of the schools, but in this case,
No.
people just fell in love with the house because it's at least your client did because they don't have kids in the school system. So
they
just wanted that house
want,
because
of
of
back to the open
so-
and the reserve, the land, they.
it's just a pretty environment for that setting.
It's like
Backdrop is very good.
Backdrop like you on vacation all the time.
Yeah,
And
so-
they had 4-car garage or something.
Oh,
with
something
garage.
a little unique.
My client do it. Now the kids all gone.
So they can
you
play
want
with
to
the
have
cars
some
or-
my time.
yeah.
Exactly. Play
Oh,
some car.
cool.
Work on the car or something is perfect for him. But this kind of unique home in general is hard to sell because the house is reasonably small and you have 4-car garage.
Yeah.
I mean, in the rural area, it's not really that attractive to majority of the buyers.
But
in this case, 11 offers.
Yeah.
Above and beyond, we paid 50,000 more. We waived everything, and it's still not there. So at the end of the day, that shows how strong the market is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the market is still up there. So for the buyers out there, sometimes I hear the buyer, agent buyer will say, they don't want to waive this, they don't waive that. I mean, the time of that already passed. It's not. It's not.
It's not past yet.
No,
Yeah.
no, not yet. The certain homes, yes, you have to look at the day on the market. If the just went on the market for less than 10 days, for example, or 5 days, you make offer just below asking or the asking, you're really not going to get answer
Right.
you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
You have to case by case. Once again, rely on your agent to guide you, and the competition is still out there.
Right.
I think after Easter, because we had a Passover and we had Easter, we had other holidays as well. The past few weeks, right? Ramadan was before, and
Right.
Ramadan first, and Passover, and now Easter. So I think after this week, I feel there'll be more home available on the market.
And that also goes because a lot of some sellers have the mindset they don't want to they prefer to put the home on the market in spring because they can show off. I mean, I'm not saying that's a great strategy, but some sellers do have that mindset.
I agree with you, Kim, but some sellers do have that. I 100% agree with you. But in recent years, a lot of professional agents like myself convinced them and showed them.
That it's better to get it on sooner than later because there's less. Typically in the winter months, there's been less inventory, so less competition. So you get ahead of the curve.
100%.
Yeah.
But this year, I believe is the harsh winter. A lot of owner, which is I agree with them, especially people like you, Ken, over conservative. You don't want people trip and sue. You don't want people get hurt.
Yeah.
Nothing for nothing. You don't want people get hurt, right?
Yeah.
So they don't want to put on market because there was so much snow, so much ice. So they then they delay the time for them to get a house ready too, right?
Sure.
And then but after this weekend, I feel there will be more home come up.
Right. So we do the crystal ball. We're almost out of time, but let's say we do the crystal ball for the next 3 months of 2026, which would bring us from April. We're just at the beginning of April, May, and June. You think that'll be relatively strong as compared to what it was in the spring market of 2025? I mean,
we'll look back
look back in 3 months and we'll see if we're
I think we'll be strong, but really subject to what's happening, in the world.
Yeah.
So far, if everything stay the same, all the if all the factors remain the same, we should have a very strong, from April to June. I think we should be stable, but it also depends, Ken. I mean, it's real estate oversupply and demand. If there's if my gut feeling is right, a lot of people hold back because the harsh winter. If suddenly a lot of home come onto the market in April and May, and then the buyer feel like they have no rush,
right?
And then if everybody feel no rush, I mean, you don't get the result.
Right. Just like at a supermarket, there's a lot of vegetables, a lot of fresh meat to choose from, so you don't feel like you have to go to the store and gouge it right away because it'll be there the next day. So
that's right.
So I guess as they always say, time will tell. We hope you enjoyed the show. And again, happy Easter to everybody out there, and we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Happy Easter.